One thing about networking that nobody will teach you, you kind of have to learn it on your own, and they should teach this in school. It's one thing to network, it's one thing to meet somebody, but to develop the relationship, that's the key. And it's as simple as just being genuine, like checking on your friends, shooting them a text, hey, how you doing, how you feeling? If they going through something, check out on them, reach out to them. Nobody really talks about that, and that's one thing that I wish I could have done differently.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world when you tap into this podcast. My name is Jabir McKnight, and I'm your host of Spark, and we're live at LIU Brooklyn, Roc Nation School, and we have an incredible guest today, someone that I've known for quite a long time. I call him my cousin. We grew up right down the street from each other. He's a student at the Roc Nation School, and we're going to have an incredible conversation about his journey as a first-generation non-traditional college student. And I'll bring out our guest, Quante Scott, also known as Quante.
You know what I'm saying? My boy.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I think this is going to be a super dope conversation. I want to keep it grounded. Doesn't have to be formal, but before anything, before I get into your journey as a non-traditional college student, you came to Roc Nation School at 27 years old, right?
Yeah, 27.
Tell me a little bit more about like your path here before we get into some specific questions.
My path isn't like what made me choose Roc Nation School.
Yeah.
So I'm in a house. I'm like, I want to go to college. Yeah. Like randomly, I always wanted to go to college, but I'm like, okay, how can we get there? What can we do? So I applied to CCP, Community College of Philadelphia. Did the process, did the application, waiting to register for classes. So I'm on Instagram and I see Roc Nation pop up and I'm like,
okay. It was an advertisement?
It was just an advertisement, like an ad. So I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I filled out the application, wrote my like little story or whatever about it. And they emailed me like, oh, you've been accepted. I said, bet, I'm going to New York. 27
years old. Yeah. A traditional college student when they're matriculating into college is at 18 years old. Why college at 27 versus 18? Talk to me about your upbringing up until that point, up until your traditional college age. What made you not want to go to school originally? And then I want to talk a little bit more about from 18 to 27, what changed?
All right. Oh man, that's a lot. So
we can start from the beginning.
So, I mean, that's a deep wormhole, but so I was at St. Gabe's High School, graduated from St. Gabe's. I tried to go to college.
What is St. Gabe's?
St. Gabriel's Hall. It's a private school.
Okay.
So I tried to go to college. And the reason why I said try is because it was like a real tough time in my life. Like I didn't even have a cell phone. I didn't have like no real support system. So it was real. If you don't have a support system, college is not ideal. It's like, especially for being 18, it's like probably one of the most difficult things to do. So
why? What made it difficult? What support system do you feel as though, if it was in place, would have made that transition a little bit easier?
So financially, it's like I didn't have no money at all. And I was working, but it's not like enough to really take care of yourself. It's like I was on my own since like 16. So at 18, it's like I'm just trying to survive out here. It's like, yeah, I got a roof over my head, but I don't have like that family that's that back and that, oh, you need a couple dollars to get on the train. You need a phone. You need your phone bill paid. You need a computer. I didn't have none of that. So when I was going to school, I went down to CCP, and I think it was like maybe like a Wednesday, and I was like 2 hours late because of the trolleys was like it broke down or something like that. So went back to the house, tried to go again the next day, and they was like, oh well, I think orientation or something, admissions or something was only open on like a Tuesday. So I'm like, I gave up. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Cause mind you, I didn't have money to keep getting on the trolley. I didn't have a phone to communicate with anybody. And I didn't have a computer to send emails. So I chalked it and I just got a job. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just get a job and rock out.
Okay. And again, so that's the journey from, high school, that leap from basically high school to traditional college age, you go and get a job. Let's talk a little bit more about your experience in the entertainment industry and just kind of building connections there, and how that kind of bred in you, or like put a seed in you to say, yo, like I need to go back to school.
So during my time not being in school, probably between like in my 20s and like I guess mid 20s, I was just doing a lot. Like I was around like a lot of people doing music and just kind of like just networking, like, but not knowing what networking was. I was just, I had a few relationships already prior. So just running around with my homie Dave, he a photographer or whatever, or he was a photographer back then. So we were just trying to like figure things out. So we was at the studio a lot, and I had a homie that did music, Izzy. He was doing music a lot and just grinding it out. So we were just meeting people, like in those worlds or whatever world you're in, everybody knows each other, whether you're popular or not. Like they see you enough, they know you. So that just led to one thing. And one night I just randomly, I was talking to Dave. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Insomnia Cookies. So I go to Insomnia Cookies. We get some cookies. Earlier that day, I was on Instagram and I'm like scrolling. We just got like a #1 pick for the Sixers. So I see, I'm like, oh, this the boy Ben Simmons. All right, cool. I'm looking at his gram, so then I ended up going to his homie's Instagram and I'm like, oh, this the boy Kofi. Cool. He did music as well. So we had Insomnia Cookies. Up pulls a black Bentley.
Which Insomnia? There's a lot of Insomnias in Philly.
Downtown, Center City.
A lot of people don't know this though. Quick drop. Because Insomnia Cookie actually started in Philly. Most people don't know that. At a university.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
At a university in Philly, either Drexel or UPenn. I don't want to make sure I get that wrong, but I know for sure it started in Philly, and that's like the power of a university setting, that creativity.
No, that's fire.
But yeah, so you were at Insomnia Cookies.
So we was Insomnia Cookies, and mind you, I'm not really like a fanboy, nothing. Like I don't really get excited. I didn't even really know too much about like Ben before that situation. So he pulls up with a few of his friends, and I'm like, I tell Dave, I'm like, oh, that's the boy Ben Simmons. Mind you, Dave is like a fanboy. Like he know what's going on. He follows sports closely. So he like, oh, Sam, I'm like, you want a picture, don't you? So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get a picture. So I go and take a picture, and cause they, like when you're around celebrities, they kind of like move at their own pace. So it's like when they not gonna just jump to take a picture. So Dave gets his picture. He's like, you want one? I'm like, nah, bro, I'm cool. So then I see Kofi. I'm like, oh, I'm like, yo, you look familiar. Cause mind you, I forgot that I was on Instagram and seen Kofi's page. And he was like curious about that. He was like, for real? And I'm like, yeah. So I got his Instagram because at the time I was doing Paso Energy, the clothing brand. And I was going to get him some gear. That was my whole intention. Like if I'm meeting somebody, I'm going to try to get you in some gear so I can get brand exposure for me. I don't really care to get a picture or be like a fan of yours. That's not really my thing. But one thing led to another. I got in contact with Kofi. Then honestly, like the way they were moving around, they didn't really have like a big circle of friends. It's like real tight niched. So they kind of like just kind of accepted me and like brought me and treated me like family. Even the mom, the dad, sisters, brothers, like they like really kept us close. So that was like my eye opener to the entertainment world. It was just kind of like I was around it. I was really closely around it, and I got to meet a lot of cool people. And it was inspiring because the people that you meet, some people don't go to school. They kind of get like lucky and have like a friend or a close relative or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people, they went to school, they got educated behind what they do. And that was interesting to me. I'm like, yo, I thought about it. I wanted to go to school at that moment, but then I'm like, mind you, financially, I'm taking care of myself. I got to grind it out. I can't afford to pay something thousand to go to school, 40, 50, whatever thousand to go to school. So that was just that process for me. And at the time, Kofi was going to school. So I got to be around Drexel a little bit and kind of like see how things work, met a couple cool kids from over there. And that was just more for me to be like, yo, I really want to go to school. But even before that, I had another close homie of mine, and he was going to school, grinding it out, doing great things, SGA president, just carrying it. So I'm like, and I got to go up there and hang with him for a while, and I'm just like, wow, like this is it. So school was always in the back of my mind. It was just one of those things where I'm like, I just got to navigate and find out how to get there or how to do it. And I didn't know it was as easy as this. Like, it's as easy as filling out an application, getting scholarships, and you may have to pay like maybe like a small loan or something, but you're in there. Yeah. You're one step closer to graduation, one step closer to networking, one step closer to taking classes and getting educated.
Yeah, so I find that interesting. So you're talking about exposure is what I'm hearing. And it's almost like delayed exposure. A lot of those things when we were growing up, we didn't get the opportunity to not just, we heard about the university life, we heard about colleges, those things that are preached in so many amazing shows, you know, the Cosby Show, you name it, right? But going to actually be on campuses and being around students that were, you know, exceptional, but they opened that opportunity up for you, you were able to see like tangibly, like in real life, what the university life was like.
Yeah.
How did that help you better understand, although you may not have the financial, the financials or the financial backing to go, you better understood what the potential return on investment of college could be?
Well, of course, I mean, growing up, when you really don't have like a big family, and then you look at it from a certain perspective, like the way I look at school with my family, my mom didn't go to school, sisters, brothers didn't go to school, and you see where they're at in life. Then you have the family members that kind of did go to school, but they like kind of distant relatives, and you see where they're at in life. And it's like, you just kind of narrow it down to, well, I think school was the option. Like, I think school was it.
Yeah. But
I had it differently growing up because I was always around like an educational type of like system in a way.
Yeah.
So like even in the church I went to, they, you know, the churches always push education. I was a part of Dream Academy. That was a program that we had in Philadelphia, and they took me, my first college campus experience was through Temple University.
Yeah.
So that opened my eyes. And they also had a mentorship program where I didn't have a mentor, but somebody I knew in the program had a mentor, and we were close. And they took me again, and this is years before Kofi took me to Drexel.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm younger at this time, so now I'm seeing it from like a completely different aspect.
Yeah.
I'm at the Temple House, I'm driving around with them, I'm seeing everything, I'm meeting everybody, and I'm like, wow, like this is cool. Like that was cool for me. Yeah. But I don't know, man.
I think that's big. You're speaking to a lot of topics that, you know, sparked the company I own, Spark DreamBeacon, my company. We talk about a lot of these things and how important they are, regardless of where you are in your life. Mentorship, even networking, right? And we call it a personal board of directors, like the people that you are surrounding yourself around that help you elevate. And it seems like although you didn't have that support always like within your nuclear family, there was always some level of external support that was helping you see those things, although, you know, you had to come to your own realization through different experiences. Everyone doesn't go to traditional track. So I would say for people that are in the same position as you are, or the position that you were in 3 years ago before you went back to school, can you talk a little bit more about some of maybe the hesitations that you had to work through and say, yeah, I'm going to apply?
I mean, for me, it was more so like financially. Like I just didn't want to put myself in a situation where as though I was in debt before I even got a chance to make money, because I don't like working from a deficit. But I mean, America's in a deficit. Like I think that's just the way of life, or at least how society, like, you know, what society is telling us. But I didn't let, like, when I chose to enroll here, I didn't let nothing get in the way. I got a son, and I was like, I need to be doing something concrete for him. It's not even about me. It's no longer about me. Once I had him, it was about him. So it's like I'm grinding through for him. So going to school, I mean, the only hesitation was just financially. Like I was a little afraid of the workload, because I know I'm like a procrastinator, and it's like I don't really like to be forced to do things. But the workload kind of was like, do I feel like having to write a 10-page paper? Do I feel like having to read 3 books? Do I feel like having to do this? But it's, you know, experiencing it is completely different than what I expected. Like, yeah, you're going to get to work, but it's a way to balance it. And I feel like that's what school is good for. It teaches you balance. It like adds things to your life that you didn't know you needed besides the education portion. It's like who you meet. the traits you develop. You know, like I feel like a typical college student, the way they live their life, if you are traditional, you go to school, eventually maybe in your sophomore year, you get into like going to the gym, you start eating a little better, like you start develop habits that you'll basically be doing for
your lifetime.
Yeah. So that was like important to me too, because I knew it was things other than the workload that was gonna help me be a better me.
Yeah. And so you talked about Kofi, and then you mentioned another guy who you were talking about, me, right? Which is funny.
Yeah, I was talking about you, my boy.
So talking about like lifestyle changes, I mean, I was a first generation college student, and for me, college was bigger than just like in the classroom learning. I think you're speaking to me right now, because it's like, it's the first time where I'm like really having access
and you were
to
on
a
your
gym,
own.
right? I'm on my own. I have to figure things out on my own, apart from my nuclear family, but you're getting to know people and really just widening your perspective of the world, right? Outside of the city that you grew up in, the experiences that you've had. And it's an opportunity for you to like chart your own path. Like, people know you for you, they don't know you from the background of others. And like you said, you get to build really strong habits. That being said, one of the things you said was networking, but you were doing that previously. And
without even knowing that I was networking.
So what are some of you were doing it instinctively, building relationships. Is there do you look at how you built those relationships a little bit differently now? How do you think you could have done it better, I guess, as you're at your age now and kind of being in a university space to leverage those relationships?
So one thing about networking that nobody will teach you, you kind of have to learn it on your own, and they should teach this in school. It's one thing to network, it's one thing to meet somebody, but to develop the relationship, that's the key. And it's as simple as just being genuine, you know, like checking on your friends, shooting them a text, hey, how you doing, how you feeling? If they going through something, check out on them, reach out to them. Nobody really talks about that, and that's one thing that I wish I could have done differently, worked on developing the relationships more, but I didn't know any better, because like if I just meet you and you cool, I'm cool, we just cool. That's it. It's like I don't overstep, I don't do nothing. I try to support everybody and try to be kind of fair. It's like I'm not showing favoritism. Oh, this person has connections to do this, so I'm going to be more of their friend than this person that has nothing to offer but a friendship. So I don't really move like that, and a lot of people do, but that's just my views on it. Just build those relationships, but also maintain the relationship. That's like key.
Yeah, I agree with that. And a lot of us were used to, you hear this saying, right? Day ones.
Yeah.
Like, this is my day one. I met this person. We were together since the sandbox. We meet day ones, right? That being said, it's easier to build those relationships and hold on to those relationships because as you were growing up, you spent more time with people, right?
Yeah.
We either grew up in the neighborhood together, so we went to the park to play together.
Same
or
schools.
we went to same school, so we were together more than we were with our actual families, right? Like, if it's a summer job, you can only work by so many different places. Those developmental years, we're spending so much time around each other. So that relationship building is almost on like autopilot.
Yeah.
But what happens when you meet someone that you're like, oh, this person is cool, but they live halfway across the United States? Or maybe you only see them twice a year, if that. Maybe you only see them every 2 years.
Yeah.
You have to make an intentional effort to actually build that relationship, to your point. Like,
from both parties.
So even if you're like scheduling time to just shoot a text message, hey, I'm gonna check in with this person quarterly.
Yeah.
Or I seen them post on social media about something, I'm gonna send you a congrats, not just on socials, but just shoot a quick text, right? But I think that's something that's also very important, even if you're connecting with someone that's older than you.
Yeah.
Or younger than you. You have to be intentional about those relationships too. Like,
yeah, facts.
So my next question is kind of navigating this space with professors and administrators at the university. How do you employ those relationship building skills there?
I just have conversations with people. That's it. Like, I'm not here often because I'm a commuter student from Philly. So the time that I get to spend here in my free time, I just have conversations with people and I treat everybody with respect. Like, it's like if somebody tell me I'm sick or they're sick, I'm actually genuinely concerned about them. Oh, how you feeling today? Like, I'm actually having these conversations with the staff, and they may not know me, they may not know my name, but they know my face and they know how I come when I walk into the room. So that's been basically that's it.
But it's a huge thing.
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing. Yeah,
you're able to get reps in to know, okay, next time you see them, maybe 2-3 weeks from now, and they tell you how that meant.
Yeah.
What that meant to them, you're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, because it don't cost nothing to make somebody's day brighter, and I genuinely believe that, like, it's just good vibes, good energy, and good spirits. Like, you just pass it along. Like, that always been my thing, because I know I come from, like, dark places. So that makes me feel better knowing that I helped make your day better, even if it was as simple as, how you doing? How you, like, but, like, not just saying, oh, how you feeling? Oh, all right, cool. No, how you feeling?
Yeah.
What's going on? You all right?
Yeah.
Like, genuine conversations, that matters. Like,
I want to shift gears really quickly, and I want to talk about some disadvantages and advantages you feel you have as a non-traditional student.
Oh man, that's my favorite part.
Let's talk about it.
No, so some of disadvantages, we can get right into the disadvantages. The fact that I'm not like of not a lot of students, because a lot of students surprisingly are like my age or in my age group, but it's like a age gap. So the things that they're interested in, I'm not really interested in, or the things I know about, they may not know about. It might not be their time. So it's kind of like a little disconnection there. Yeah. But then again, it's like I'm me, so I'm able to kind of like, I'm like a chameleon. Like I can resonate with somebody younger, I can resonate with somebody older, just from my past experiences. Like, I'm good with people. Mm-hmm. But some advantages, I would say, is because I'm older, it's like I have a lot of insight and a lot of knowledge, so I'm like real helpful, even with life things. Like if somebody's younger going through something, it's like I can talk to them about it and talk them through it, and just be like a counselor, if you will, or like an advocate for certain things. It's like, it's just second nature to me. So I try to be that type of person on campus. Mm-hmm. Like, I try to, cheer people up. If they're in like a negative mood, I try to just say something that'll make their day better, or just offer that type of, mm-hmm. solace to them. So
how do you think that goes the other way? So technically, you would be a millennial, and then Gen Z would be the next generation. There's like a year in between. So, because I'm a Gen Zer, our 3-year gap, right? That being said, like, how do you think that relationship goes the other way? How do some of your younger classmates help you see the world differently?
Perspective, just the way they look at things. It's like, because you could just be a fly on the wall and you can hear the conversations that go on, and then you can kind of take it in and say, oh, that's why they do it that way. That's why they think that way. Because I ask myself a lot of questions. Like, even in my head, it's like I question a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Even if somebody do something as simple as, oh, they just tripped. Why did they just trip? Not even just because they didn't see where they were going, but because they were occupied by something else. So it's weird. I just have a lot of like questions in my head, and I just kind of try to answer them too. But I answer by observing the room and reading the room.
So do you think there's power in that, right? Like,
of course,
to understand this generation, you have a lot of experiences that you spoke to, that you're leaning on, right, to better understand the world, how you navigate to the world, how you're building things, how you're doing things. But this collegiate experience has given you really like an opening to be in the classroom in a learning environment with a generation that, outside of that, you would be kind of moving in the world in a more transactional way. Do you value this experience to be like, man, like, I would have never thought about it that way? And does that change how you do things?
Yeah, I do value it. And I wouldn't really say it changes how I do things, mm-hmm. but it gives me an option to think about how I could do things differently. Mm-hmm. It's just a tricky subject.
No, I feel that. So in terms of you're in school, how is it meeting your expectations? And is there any way, that you thought maybe I would have felt like I would have gotten a little bit more out of the experience? We could start with the expectations, meeting expectations or even exceeding them in certain ways.
my expectations coming to this school was just kind of like, I didn't know what to expect, honestly. Like, even going to college, I didn't really know what to expect. It was more so like, oh, am I even like ready to be in school? I've been out of school so long to where as though you go to, you go to college, it's like, do I still know this stuff?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been like easy selling for me. Like, I don't want to talk too soon, but it's been like, I've been coasting. I've been making it work. I've been learning different things. But I always had like an educated mind in a way. Like, even me and you, we used to always have conversations in the car, and just, even when you was telling me about your college experiences, like, we were able to like have that intellectual level of conversation that you would have with a college student. Mm-hmm. So it's like I was ready for it this whole time. I just didn't go.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I regret. Like, I do wish I went to school sooner, but also I know timing is everything, and everything ain't for everybody. So I think I'm like, it's like the perfect time for me.
And what about some things that, you thought you maybe would have got more out of the experience?
No, I don't really think I should be getting more. I mean, it's kind of like you get what you put in. So if I'm like showing up to class and I'm being proactive, I'm talking to every professor, I'm checking in on every professor, checking in on every student, it's like you kind of building something that it's like it'll just come how it should come out. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's like, it's something that's like in the waters already.
Yeah.
It's already brewing. The potion's already brewing, so something's gonna happen.
Yeah. So it just came to me. I'm thinking about these relationships that you've already built, and now you're in a university environment that kind of activates the opportunities that you're able to step into once you like graduate. How have those relationships changed with the people that you're still currently building relationship with? And now them knowing that you're in a university, getting your bachelor's degree, how do you feel like you can activate those relationships a little bit more than you could have done previously?
So I feel like people respect the degree.
Yeah.
With that being said, I still have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Like, you get the degree, you put the work in, you show some type of value. You show that you're an asset instead of a liability. Mm-hmm. You show what you can do. It's kind of like it's a game of chess, like, you have to be an asset in this world. Like, you have to have some type of economic value to someone or to the world itself.
Yeah.
So I feel like once I do what I need to do, doors are just open for me. And even if they don't open, we kicking doors down. Yeah. We're going to make it happen. We got to. We don't have no other options. Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
I feel you. You can't expect somebody to invest in you if you're not willing to invest in yourself.
Exactly.
And they need to not just invest in you, they need to know that you're investing in yourself.
So somebody close to me, he has a business, and he told me some real stuff. He said, I don't even hire people that don't have a bachelor's degree. And the reason why he said he don't hire people that don't have a bachelor's degree is because when you show that you have that bachelor's degree, you show that you went through 4 years of school. 4 years of a workload, 4 years of dealing with whatever you got to deal with, and you got the job done. It shows that you're willing, you're ready, like you've already been prepped. So that's set with me. It's like, yeah, it's a challenge. You got to knock that brick down and then go on to the next level. So that's what we doing.
And did you get that advice? Was that before college or while you were in school?
While I was in school.
Did that keep you going?
No, I was already going.
You was going. Yeah. So tell me about, you're commuting from Philly to Brooklyn multiple days a week. What are the challenges of that?
Oh, man, that's some disadvantages for real, because I don't get as much sleep. Financially, it take a toll on you. I can't network as much as I want to or attend certain school events, being as though I'm not up here. Mm. So that like takes away from the college experience. I didn't want to go to school just to kind of sit in the classroom. I wanted to kind of like explore and see what college has to offer to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on my commutes, I meet a lot of cool people in the commutes too. So it's like it's pros and cons to it. Like, granted, I lose sleep. I do get to get some schoolwork done on my commute. I do get to rest on the commute, but it's just not the same as being like refreshed or like staying on campus and you live 15 feet away from your classroom, but yeah.
So I want to ask a little bit more about, like your values, right? And the things that you're passionate about. I would love to hear about that. And then how you're able to like leverage those things that are like intrinsic to you in this space. Cause it seems like, again, what I'm hearing is you're very curious, right? You're open. You
Open
love to connect.
network.
But no, I just think open in general, right? If you're just talking to people, and we spend a bunch of time together. It ain't like I'm talking to some foreign person. Like you'll walk down the street, it's not just hi, how you doing? But like if someone is stopping to have a conversation, you're gonna have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
That's an extroverted action that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable with. So I just want to hear from you, like, what are your values? If you can name 5 of them, what do you say they are?
5?
3 to 5.
I don't know. I just value kinship. I value friendship.
Yeah.
I value understanding. I definitely value perspective. I value knowledge. I don't know.
That's
I value hard work.
That's 5. Now I have a question. Knowing those values and then thinking about the people that you're connecting with and the people that you continue to build relationships with, do you look for those values in others, or what type of values are you looking
when I'm just having typical conversations?
And just people that you know that not just talking to, but hey, I want to build a relationship with this person.
Honestly, I don't always look for the traits that I have or the traits that I have values in, because everybody is different. And you can learn from literally anybody. Like I done had conversations with people that's homeless just because I wanted their perspective and to see how they got where they are and what they did that they know that they did that was wrong, that led them to a different path than what they would have wanted to be. So I just like hearing from everybody, bro. Even if they not like the kindest person, or even if they somebody who kind of disagrees with everything you got to say, or it's always some type of education in a conversation. Even if it's a BS conversation, it's literally something in that you can like kind of like piece together and be like, okay. Or it's one of them things where I know that I'm like not going to talk to you. Like it's like if I have one conversation with you and I realize that it's like it's not like you have nothing to offer. No, it's crazy because I had a conversation with somebody here, and it was so crazy because it was like the stuff that he was saying was unvalid. Like it was just false. Yeah. And I'm just like, you really a liar. Like, like you really don't know what you're talking about. But it was good for me to be able to identify that, because I'm like, okay, I know that we can't have a certain conversation to a certain degree. It has to be like kind of surface level. We're not getting deeper than that. Yeah. So it was cool though. He's a good kid. I hope everything is going well for him. But
he's growing. So how about passions? Like what are you passionate about? And this time I'm gonna set the ground for it. If you, let's say, all of your basic needs were met, right? Like house, food, clothes, because I know that's a basic need for you. Yeah, man, my fault. What are those things that you would still do if everything was met?
I think I still would seek education, but maybe it'd be in a different light, or maybe I'll just get artistic and just find like a creative outlet. Maybe I'll read more. I'm not really sure, bro. It's because I feel like me, the person I am, I'm always seeking education, but I'm always seeking it in different ways. Yeah. Even if it's not traditional book reading or, sitting in the class and learning. It's like I'm having conversations with somebody. So I don't know. That's where I think.
So learning, right? What about some other things? Fashion seems to be something that you're passionate about, right? Like that's something that you spend a lot of time on, understanding collaborations, partnerships.
I just like the arts,
developing.
But that's the arts of it. So I can't I wouldn't say I'm like fashionable, but I'm curious on how the pieces of the puzzle work, like how these brands came. It's just the arts of it, the artistic expression of it, even like how they design some things. It's just interesting to me. So yeah, definitely, I would say fashion. sports.
Yep.
Sports would be a big thing. I've gotten more into sports, like as I got older. Growing up, I kind of wasn't, we played sports, but that was pretty much it. We wasn't like super locked into it. Well, you were, but I wasn't. Yeah, what else?
I know too many stats.
Yeah, I can't.
Too many. I actually need to get like rid of half that, and I'll have more space in my mind.
Like, I never was one of them people, oh, Tim Hardaway scored something. Like,
That's
I can't
me.
do that. Like, I can't do that, bro. I know he got the crazy moves, but that's about it. But yeah, and just business though. I like so much, bro.
Let's talk about it. So, I mean, I think the two things that you already tapped into, I want to kind of pull some threads and see how they come together, right? Like you said, learning, right? But like it's the creativity, it's like expanding your knowledge base. And then you said the arts, right? Like, but it's not just like fashion, or it's not just like modern architecture or painting, but it's the thought process and the mindset behind why this came to be, right?
Yeah.
Sociology, psychology, all those things, right? But that ties into the learning, right?
Yeah.
You're interested in it, now you need to learn more about it. So I just kind of want to hear a little bit more about like, what are some other things? Those are already huge things.
I don't know, bro.
Problem solving, that goes into that as well. I mean, if you want to learn how they did something, it's almost like reverse engineering something.
Yeah.
That's all problem solving really is.
No,
right?
Facts.
So that being said, okay, so we pulled on those threads. You got the values and how that allows you to kind of interact with the world, the things that you're passionate about. And you're in school, you're going to kind of matriculate into a career or entrepreneurship. I know you were building your clothing brand. We'll talk a little bit about that, but you're in school during a very interesting time, right? During a time of like change, right? AI, technology, just a shift
AI?
in,
What is AI?
The shift in artificial technology, right? Artificial intelligence, like we're thinking about all these things that are shifting. You're in school right now. I'm sure a lot of this conversation is occurring. How do you think college is impacting you being here in a learning environment during this change or shift in the world versus if you weren't here and you were just kind of viewing these things as they were changing?
Honestly, if I wasn't in school, I probably wouldn't care about AI. I feel like it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it would matter economically, but it really, like individually, it wouldn't matter to me. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll learn more. I would have learned more about it because it would have been an interesting thing to look into if I wasn't in school.
Yeah.
But being in school, it's just kind of like everybody's like on edge about it. Like they like, what is it? How deep? Like, it's just a question mark over AI. Like, is it going to be something that we're going to be doing 30 years from now? Or are people, lawmakers, are going to like try to put a lock on it? Everybody's creating their own versions of it. So it's like a tricky topic in all subjects, honestly.
People are scared of innovation, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always change. It's like this is a cycle. And people are like, oh my God, this is not a good thing. But guess what? It's here.
Yeah.
And innovation, disruption is not knocking on the door and waiting for somebody to answer, as you said earlier, it's kicking the door down and making people basically deal with it and change the way they do things.
Yeah.
And at least in my experience, being in college and being around people that are learning and they're not just focused on like what used to be, but what is. And that we're in a generation now where everyone is pushing the boundaries, right? Of what is tradition? Why are we even doing this?
Right.
Does this even matter? Why do we do it this way? Right? And to your point, and I agree, same with me, it's like, if I didn't go to college, if I didn't have that experience, and if I was just looking at the world, it's like most of the people that came from where we came from, lower income communities, it's like you see the impacts of innovation without knowing what it is, right? Like we seen self-checkouts a long time ago. How has that evolved, right? Like I remember where you go into a store, CVS, Walgreens, you name it, right? And it's just two self-checkouts.
Yeah.
Then it gets to the point where there's only one person, and then it's all self-checkouts. And then there are stores that are just straight up self-checkouts.
With an overseer.
Right. Or, you know, like a McDonald's that may have, there are only people in there cooking, but there are, you just kind of order with a machine.
Yeah, that's right up the street.
Yeah, that's something.
That's crazy.
And that innovation is affecting our communities, but we're not necessarily involved in it in terms of like thought leadership and really even how we utilize it.
Facts.
So I think that's just absolutely extremely important for us to, like you said, just be knowledgeable, be learners, be able to challenge the status quo. Because at the end of the day,
you got to be okay with change too.
You have to.
I feel like our older generations, they are so uncomfortable with change, they don't like it. Like if my grandfather was here, he would not be comfortable with change. But I feel like you got to change, or it's like things will outlive you.
No.
Like I feel like the cell phone. Like my mom don't really know how to work her phone. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's like she don't really care to. But that phone is going to be there longer than you're going to be there.
Yeah.
So.
You know, sometimes I often think about, I really feel like we're in the most innovative time, at least in modern history, right? And you remember we went from dial-up phones.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That's what's special about my generation, though, bro, because I had the best of both worlds. Like it was come in the house before the street lights come on, but it was also internet.
Yeah.
Like we had that. Like it was like a point in time like where we would go outside without phones.
Yeah.
It was a meet me here at this time, and then like, or you would just go to people's door and just knock on everybody's door. Yeah, it was crazy, bro.
It's like, yo, meet me here at this time, and then you really just have to stand in that spot until they come.
Yeah.
It's no, I'll be there in 5 minutes. People were still late.
Yeah.
But you just was sitting there.
But back then, I don't feel like people was as late as, like, if we had phones or we were, like, more obsessed with the phones, they would be later. Yeah. Because if I say meet me here, you ain't doing nothing, I'm not doing nothing, but we got an objective to get here at this time.
Yeah.
It was like, that's all we was worried about.
Yeah.
So we didn't get sidetracked as we do now with the phones.
So I was having a conversation with a mentor, and one of the things that he said, we were talking about like AI, right? Chat GPT, everyone's doing these things. And it'll
Chat GPT.
Right. So people will continue, it's going to continue to advance, right? And the question is, okay, this is going to allow us to do our work, whatever field that you're in, faster. But is that necessarily the case? And this is a great example of a washing machine. Before washing machines existed, people just had less clothes. You had to hand wash your clothes and hang dry it. But you wore your clothes more and you had less clothes. Washing machine comes around, the initial attempt would be, whoa, if I have 3 sets of clothes, I don't need more clothes because I can just wash them faster.
Yeah.
But no, people just bought more clothes because they could wash them.
Yeah.
Same with artificial technology, you know, artificial intelligence, like, yo, like I'm good. This is going to make my job way easier. No, you're just going to have more work. Right?
No, facts.
Or
definitely going to have more work.
And if you don't have more work and the technology can do your work, going back to your point, what you said about 45 minutes ago, we live in a society where value is king. Whether it's in basic relationship building, whether it's in a university setting, whether it's in the working world.
I just had a class that was talking about that. It was a philosophy class. Oh man, I wish I had this answer for y'all. It was amazing though, because what you're saying, it was basically like they put a value on like sweat equity.
Yep.
But yeah, you continue.
Oh, so tell me. So sweat equity.
I can't.
What's your concept of sweat equity? What does that mean to you?
It's when you're basically it's a trade-off between your work versus getting a monetary or some type of compensation for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so fact. And it matters, right? You're trading time for money or you're trading time to build a relationship. All those things matter. It's coming to my head. I really want to talk about this. Like, I'm just stuck on this relationship building thing because I just think it's extremely important.
And we need more classes for it.
You have people that are learning, right? You have people that are used to doing two things that I think are extremely dangerous, and we don't talk about them enough. Transactional relationships is one. I'm just doing this so I can get this. And the second thing that I think is we need to talk a little bit more about that I've experienced in my work connecting with young professionals, early career professionals, even mid-career professionals in my work with DreamBeacon is some people do work to check boxes. We call them box checkers. I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this so I can say I did it. But you're not really in the experience. Like,
yeah, okay.
Like if I say, yo, all right, I'm applying to Roc Nation School. I'm in year one. I'm a freshman. I just want to show up to school so I can take pictures and say I'm here. I go to class and I get an A and I'm good. But there's more to the experience. You have to be in it. You have to be fully immersed.
Yeah.
Right? If you get an internship and let's say you're working at Roc Nation, okay, I could go there and say I worked at Roc Nation, but what value did you bring?
Right.
For them to want you back. What did you learn?
Right.
So if you come into your sophomore year, exactly. You come into your sophomore year and you're looking for an internship and I interview and I'm saying, yo, tell me what you learned. Nothing.
What?
Because you was box checking.
Yeah.
You just wanted people to know, hey, I did this.
That's it.
So I can post it on Instagram. I can post it on TikTok so people think I'm lit.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's
why I shied away from social media, because I don't even want to have that, like, don't look at my page and think nothing. You can have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that perception. Perception.
Yeah, perception, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Why? Was it always been like that for you?
Honestly,
or did it change?
Honestly, a friend of mine told me some real funny stuff. He was basically like, you just basically what you're saying, that you got to make it seem like something. I'm just like, no, I don't want to make nothing seem like nothing. I just want it to be what it is, you know, because it's like social media gives us that fake reality. Like, it's not really what it is. Like, nobody struggles or nobody has bad days and stuff like that. But in reality, everybody has bad days. Everybody probably has more bad days than good days. Right. But yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. It's all because
it's like it's fake, all marketing. It's fake love.
And it's all marketing. To your point, would you rather? And again, this goes back to the box checking. More people would rather look like they're doing something than actually doing something.
Yeah.
People rather look like they're learning something than actually learning something. Yeah. You learn by doing. You learn by being focused on exactly what you're doing, right? And there may be an opportunity that you're doing something and you feel like it's not valuable, but it's because your mindset and your head isn't screwed on right? Yeah,
like, or you feel like you could be doing more. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us go through that. Like we're doing stuff. Like right now, I felt like I'm in school, but it's also like, what else can I do while I'm in school? Yeah. But also at the same time, I got to sit back and pace myself because, okay, let's get these good grades. Let's get these A's and B's. Let's retain the information that I'm given, and then go from there. Like, I think you may even told me this. Michaela may even told me this. It was like, you got to basically, and my brother even told me this, you got to focus on the task at hand. Like, you got to kind of get through. So that's why when you said box checkers, I was looking at it from a completely different standpoint. I'm like, okay, well, school is on my checkbox. That's my, like, I'm going to get this done. Yeah. But it's an objective for me to complete versus it being like, oh, I'm in school, yeah, like, no, it's not one of them things.
And I think that's the right term, right? It's an objective, right? Like, you have an end goal in mind, and when you work backwards and you're saying this is an objective towards that, but you still have to be fully immersed in it because you have to learn all of the lessons at this stage to be the person deserving of that thing at the end of the road.
Exactly.
If you skip the steps, then you're not going to, you cheating yourself.
Yeah.
And you may get ahead a little bit. It may look like you're getting ahead, but you want to be the person that's deserving of that opportunity because you don't want to receive something that you're not ready for.
No, facts. You definitely don't.
Imagine that. everything that you wanted, you get it, and you wasn't ready for it, and you flopped.
Exactly.
Then what? You gotta start all over again.
Silly. You looking silly. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, man. So I mean, we have that experience. One of the things you said is, people want more. Talk about that. Like, I want to hear a little bit more about that experience or your feelings, like being in school and feeling like I should be doing something else.
So, me being in school, I feel like I want to be in my career already. Like, I'm kind of rushing it mentally.
Yeah.
Because when I look around, like, the people that's doing the stuff that I want to do are my peers. They're my age.
Yeah.
So even a few of the faculty here is like, they're my age. I'm in school. They already finished school because maybe they took the traditional route, whatever the case may be. So it's like I'm kind of rushing my own self mentally because I'm like, oh, I want to work here. I want to work here. I want to do this. I want to do that. So it's just, I feel like I should be doing more. I feel like I should be in school and already have that career to where as though once I transition or graduate, I'm already like where I want to be and where I need to be. But it don't really work like that, and life don't work like that. So they like adversities I deal with mentally, like on my own, about just wanting more. But that's about it. Like,
that's big though. Like, so how do you navigate that? Have you ever talked with, like you said, some of the administrators here or anyone else that's like your age that's in their career? Do you ever talk with them about, like,
honestly,
how or you might be in a better position that they're even in?
No, I don't really talk to them about that, but they just, like, even if I do have conversations with them and I feel kind of discouraged that I'm not like where I want to be or where I feel as though I should be, everybody, like, the way I view, like, everybody has a different path. So I don't really get in my head too much about it. I think about it, but I'm not like beating myself down about it. It's more so like, okay, well, take it, you move at your pace.
Yeah.
You're doing what you need to do. It's not like I'm going through it now. So it's like I'm grinding, I'm getting it done. Just take your time with it,
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it, bro.
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Perspective is important. Your perspective is important, and more perspective comes from more conversations with different types of people from different walks of life. That's the only way you're going to gain a certain type of insight when it comes to certain things like this.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially life. Because life isn't just like, oh, that kid from poverty or that rich kid from the suburbs. It's all of that infused into one, and then it's like what you get out of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say them conversations is important with anybody from anywhere.
Exposure. How did they get to where they were? Whether you want to be there or you don't.
Yeah, and they'll tell you.
And to your point, everybody, you have to run your own race. We all start at different positions, and you never know. There are some people that are dealing with some really hard luck that started off in better positions than most. Right. And I think to your point, like understanding life and then treating people with respect and honoring them as just humans. Right. That's how you really gain that perspective. If you have these preconceived notions and just judging people before you even connect with them, you lack that curiosity and openness, then you're also missing out on so many lessons, because the only thing that you're honing and you're walking with is your own perspective.
Yeah, and everybody, it's like, it's nothing bad with having your own perspective, but also you gotta keep your eyes open. Like, you can't kind of just think that whatever you think is right all the time. You gotta question things. You gotta question everything.
Yeah, man. And a lot of people, I talk to you about this all the time when we had these conversations about, like you said, some level of discouragement. There are a lot of people that are in the positions that you want to be in that are working hard to get the things you already have.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And there's people that deal with imposter syndrome too. Or or it's people that's not even, we just had this conversation. There's people that's like in positions that I guess it may be ideal for them or their dream that may be on the verge of losing it because they taking it for granted.
Yeah.
So
can you talk about, for our audience, I want to hear about imposter syndrome. I mean, like, what's your take on imposter syndrome? And does it show up in a way that, like, that you think other people don't acknowledge?
You talking about like for myself or for like other people?
Just how you view imposter syndrome and just like other people. You can talk about yourself as well.
I don't feel like I really I'm trying to think of a time where I was in a situation where damn, I shouldn't be here. And it has been times where I felt like that, but it was a completely different situation. But I mean, people just feel like they not, or something may be too good to be true that they feel like they shouldn't be in that situation, but you there for a reason.
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta shuck it out.
Know that you're in the room because you deserve to be there.
Yeah. No matter how you got in the room, even if you delivering food in the room, you in the room.
Yeah.
Make it count. It's your time.
I think one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received, and you did it instinctively, you know, when you're in a room with people, to your point, their perception is that you deserve to be there because you're there. Once you start talking, you're talking about why you're there.
Yeah.
And then they're going to form an opinion, right? But it's your opportunity, whether it's people that you look up to, whether it's people that are doing awesome things, whether it's people in a position that you want to be in. It's your opportunity to speak to them and let them understand if you deserve to be there or not. And if you already internally feel like you don't deserve to be there, people feel it. They can see it from your body language, shying away. You find a corner somewhere.
Factor. You just can't be intimidated. You know, you got to know that it's like, yo, you really there for a reason. And also you can't put people on a pedestal. Like, you just have to like flow, because you grinding, they grinding, and they may look at you like, wow, like I want to do something like that. You may look at them like, wow, I want to do something like that. But at the end of the day, y'all both doing y'all thing, you know, regardless of what it is. It's just y'all getting it done.
For sure.
You got to have that work ethic. That's like, that come with that type of grit that like, oh, I'm going to get this done. It's just a different type of energy when you working towards something.
You have to start with the end in mind and work backwards. That's one of the things that we talk about at Dream Beacon more than anything. 5 to 10 years down the line, this is what I'm seeking to accomplish, and then reverse engineering it, right?
Yeah.
Because when you connect with people, yes, there's a genuine nature. You have to understand those values and what you're passionate about and what you want to do. But when you're connecting with people, you have to say, okay, like, either this is a relationship that I just straight vibes, I appreciate this person, they're giving me a different perspective, or someone where I'm like, wow, they can actually be of assistance in my career journey and my entrepreneurial journey, and people want to help.
Yeah,
right?
For sure, especially.
But how can people help you if you don't know? You can't even tell them how to help you,
right?
Because you don't know, because you're just on autopilot. You're just getting in the car and going. You ain't put nothing in the GPS. You don't know what store you going to.
Right.
You just vibing.
Right.
If Jay-Z walked up in here right now and knocked and tapped on a few people's shoulder and said, hey, I'm trying to invest $150,000 in your, what is the dinner situation? $500,000 in you. What you gonna do with it? I'm saying, if he was gonna give you 500, I'm not saying you, but like, how many people would be able to actually leverage that, or would they blow through it? I'm not saying they would leverage it, but what would they do with it?
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I don't even want to say a lot, because I feel like when we in situations like this, we always say a lot of people blow through it. But if you look from a mass scale, maybe a lot of people wouldn't blow through it. Maybe a few would blow through it, and then a lot of people would do great with it. But I don't know.
If they have the education.
Yeah, no, you do have to have some type of education to deal with money of that nature.
And vision.
Yeah. And the network. Because you can have some friends, and this is why I love networking, bro. You can have a play for a friend and another friend and still benefit from the cause just because you connected the dots.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Somebody could think of you and be like, oh, I know this would be great for such and such.
Yeah.
Because you have that relationship. But my first week here, the dean told me that. She was like, make sure, you get acquainted with her per se. Yeah. But she was just like, basically, make sure you get acquainted, because if something comes up and I don't know you, how can I help you? How can I give you an opportunity? How can I assist if I don't know who you are and you don't even, speak to me? So it's like, you can't even get mad at her for not being able to assist in certain ways when you not even making yourself known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to know your story, and you got to know what you want, because he or she has to know how to even connect the dots with you. To do that, they need to know, who are you? What do you do? What are you about? What do you want to do?
Exactly.
What have you done? Even
the professors here, same thing. They instill that in you. Like, that's like something that you're not going to forget that.
Yeah. That's definitely, that's a cheat code.
Even when I was in them rooms, I was just more so a fly on the wall, taking it all in because I still held my anonymity. So I'm just like observing things from a whole different it's crazy, bro, because it's like I'm looking at it from a different life. It's like I'm not looking at it from being in Philly and growing up guttery. It's just I'm looking at it from like, wow, like this is the other side. Like this is America. Like this is the other side of things where it's kind of like, I wouldn't say all glamorous, but it's way better than guttery.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I agree with that. I remember I was in Beverly Hills, and where's Fresh Prince?
Beverly Hills.
In Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah.
No. But what is the actual neighborhood? I should know this. Wow.
Beverly Hills is the neighborhood.
No.
Calabasas?
No, it's in Beverly Hills, but where did he actually live?
I don't know.
You don't know the song?
I know that.
Whatever. Anyway, so I was in Beverly Hills, and one of the things that I was considering, to your point, where if someone grew up wealthy and, you know, have significant amount of capital, and they're walking around neighborhoods where this is the neighborhood that they grow up in, this is what they're exposed to, they go to the grocery store here, they go to school here, a significant portion of your life, you're going to feel like, I wouldn't say you feel like this is how everyone else lives, but it's like your concept of the world is skewed. No different than if you grew up in poverty or just, you know, bad circumstances throughout your developmental years. You're also going to have a skewed understanding of what the world is like. And I think that's why curiosity is so important.
I had that, bro, when I first met Kofi. So he's African. I'm thinking because of the way the school system taught us coming up, or even not even just the school system, even the media.
Advertisement. Yeah.
I'm thinking they all poor, like it's no money over there. I'm thinking it's just like bad. And they was looking at me like I was crazy, and I'm looking at them like, how do you expect me to know that y'all don't, you know? Like, and yeah, I was surprised, bro, because they showed me some stuff, and I'm like, wow, I was all wrong.
Yeah.
I was way off. Like, they was looking at me like I was crazy. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah. Thought y'all was fucked up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just got back from Japan, and travel I think is extremely essential. Just being able to go and see the world.
I agree.
And get outside of this American bubble. Like, one of the things that I think you just spoke to, we have people that talk about like IQ, right? Like your intellect, you know, EQ, like the emotional intelligence. But a lot of people are not talking about like cultural intelligence. When you grow up where we grew up, definitely if you're in the Northeast, whether you're in New York, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Boston, or if you're in LA or Chicago, these are major cultural hubs where you can feel like you're the center of the world.
Yeah.
Culture is coming from there. Through the arts, right, through business, commerce, whatever it is, you can feel like you're at the center of the world. And for the most part, when we talk about culture and how that's transmitted to the world, it comes through Black people, right? But America is centered itself in a lot of ways in media and selling culture to the world that we feel like we're the best at everything and we're the end all be all. And to break outside of that bubble at a young age is extremely important to better understand America is a melting pot. There's so many people around us, but a lot of people don't understand the people that they're even around.
Yeah.
Because you just expect them to understand your experience because we're in America, but like, why do they act the way that they act? What are the cultural things that are going behind that? And how does that help you in your process to connect with the world? We're in a global world more than ever. Everything has shrunk. Business has shrunk. I'm sure in New York City, even in the collegiate space, you have a lot of international students and businesses, multinational. If you're speaking to other college students or people that want to go to college, or people that haven't traveled, like how important do you think that is?
What?
Just traveling the world to build a different perspective.
No, I think it's definitely key, because like I said, through my African friends, I definitely had a culture shock, and it was like I feel like that was important because it changed my whole reality in a way. And you know, the love is different. Like my African friend, like from the moment I met them, open arms, treated me like family. Like family treated me like family. I'm like, and it was like me coming from the the inner city is kind of like weird because you like, yo, why y'all being so nice? Like,
Yeah.
like you kind of side eye like, yo, I'm not, because you're not used to everybody being nice. Like I got family that don't even treat me as like warm as them.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's major. Yeah. It's definitely major. I think it's important to travel. I think it's important to get out. I definitely think it's important to expand your horizons. Yeah. Especially educate yourself on different cultures, especially if you like traveling to Japan or China. Immerse yourself in the culture, eat their foods. Well, I ain't gonna say speak their language, but
But learn it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, like try, like give it.
I think one of the things that was big for me,
you can even like basically like say you was in Japan, you can like I don't know what's their sports out there, like what's something that's big out there.
Baseball.
Baseball.
I remember I forgot his name, but the best player on the Dodgers.
So I was gonna say even like K-pop is big over there, right?
Yeah.
Even like go to a K-pop spot and just see how they interact at their highest level at their like events or whatever the case may be. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think also one of the more interesting things is seeing even how American culture and Black American culture is like transmitted to the world, right? Like there are songs that are hot in the United States that don't get no airplay anywhere else. Yeah. But there are songs that at least I realize like anywhere I go, whether I'm in Africa, Asia, Europe, I'm like, you start to even look at the things that we've experienced differently because it's like, oh no, like this was an international play.
Yeah.
This was something that was meant to have a further reach than what we traditionally understood it to be. So you might be in a way and it's like, I'm skipping this song. It wasn't meant for you.
Right.
Unless you knew. But this song is going to be playing all day and all night in Greece.
Yeah.
Right?
What song was that?
For me, house music, that Drake album, that Honestly Nevermind.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Good.
Global.
Yeah. First of every Travis Scott song. Travis Scott is big in the United States, but Travis Scott globally, different. Because he just got that get in the mosh pit music. Lil Uzi too. I was surprised Glow was a few places too. Glorilla.
I'm not surprised.
I was kind of shocked. I like Glow though.
The women, they got the ball right now, so that and that down south sound, that's gonna stick
for sure. Well,
who surprised me? I was in Vegas.
Yep.
Sexy Red, bro. That surprised me. They played her songs all night. I'm like, wow, like, cause when it's like that's not somebody I listen to. So it's like you'll hear it on the radio, you'll hear it on social media, but I'm not tuning in. Like I'm not playing the album or the mixtape, whatever, top to bottom.
Yeah.
You hit the club, that go crazy. Yeah. The beats start it's crazy, bro. She got the ball.
But to your point, it's all perspective. Certain things get played different ways, but traveling and seeing the world and expanding our horizons doesn't just expand how we view others, but it helps us understand ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think, more students, more young professionals, young people need to travel the world and not just go to resorts and have cozy vacations, but see culture, go places and understand people. And through that, you'll better understand yourself, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and you'll realize a lot of things are similar. You'll realize other things are different.
Yeah.
But through that, you can connect with the world in a better way. But this has been a dope conversation. Is there anything else that you want to touch on that you want to kind of leave the audience with?
It's never too late to go to school. It's never too late. Shoot for the stars. If you're going to do it, go 1,000.
I feel that. So thank you so much for tuning in. This was an absolutely amazing conversation. And I'll end it here. Regardless of who you are, where you are in the world. We hope that we sparked a new perspective or idea in your mind. Thank you for joining.